Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All coming to you from Austin, home of the Cyber Rodeo. I didn't get in yesterday. You can tell my voice, I still ended up talking a lot, and I have a whole day today to go. If you're going to the TeslaCon at noon today, local time, definitely look me up because I will be there. Anyway, so I'm going to try to power through this because this is actually a really important episode. So I wanted to make sure I got it out as soon as possible this morning. So forgive my voice, forgive the fact that I'm in a hotel room and talking with, there is a pool back there in the background. You just can't see it. So anyway, it's very early. Oh, and I also want to say, the reason I'm up early is because I'm going to visit the Cyberlander research facilities. And I'm going to get to, I think, an exclusive preview of the engineering prototype of their Cyberlander, which is the camper that goes on the back of the Cybertruck. And so, given the fact that everybody, I think, now wants a Cybertruck after last night. So I think you should definitely subscribe to the channel so you can catch that one because that'll be out in the next couple of days. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to get to film because I'm going to be embargoed about a bunch of stuff, but it's very cool. It's not just a mock-up, it's an actual engineering prototype, so that's super cool. Anyway, second little lesson, Misinformation and I are going to do a reflections video, maybe Sunday or something like that, about our experiences down here. But one thing I have always said is that failure is the best teacher as long as you're willing to learn. So we had failure yesterday in my primary objective, but I've got to say the love that I have experienced from all of the people who came up to me, and I've had people literally say that like I changed their lives, which is incredibly humbling. So, forget about this stupid party. I really wanted to see the Cybertruck. I'm really disappointed about that. But aside from that, everything else will be fine. And hopefully I'll go to the Cybertruck, first deliveries or something like that. That would be awesome. Anyway, also definitely watch Joe Justice's digital software management episode that he just did yesterday. He's got an awesome outfit. I met him last night in person. Lane, you loved him too, right? He's
Absolutely.
awesome. Yes, he and his wife Miho are incredible. So, so anyway, I was so happy to meet him in person. I'm gonna try to get him on the hook to do a video with me about DSM. So definitely go watch his video because it is really, really, really important for you to understand that. So anyway, I'm gonna try to talk to him about that in the future. All right. So, meat of the topic today. Let's talk about the Tesla ROBOTAXI. First of all, I want to give myself a little pat on the back because I called this. I said they are not going to release the $25,000 Model 2. Or, excuse me, like I said, I can't talk. They're not going to release the $25,000 Model 2 to the public, except for maybe in the far future. And you saw when Elon talked about the future roadmap for next year, he did not mention an inexpensive car. It was the Cybertruck, the Roadster, which is awesome, the Semi, and a RoboTaxi, a specific RoboTaxi. So anyway, I definitely called that. I also think that I have the design from 2 years ago. I'm going to link that at the end of this video, which is my Model 2 design, but basically it was an idea that it was a RoboTaxi. So anyway, we will see how I do. So here come the rest of the predictions. We have not heard anything about this, but I'm going to lay it out there and say what I think should be in this vehicle and probably will be in this vehicle. Number one, it will not be cheap. They're not going to make a $25,000 car. They're going to make something that's going to cost them, I'm not saying a lot, but something like, it's so hard with inflation and everything, but $35,000, $40,000 in that range. They're going to make a vehicle that will be costly because they're going to attempt to get a decade of usage out of this vehicle. And not a decade of me sitting in my house and it just doesn't do anything all the time, but I'm talking about 10 years of full driving all the time. So spending $35,000 or $40,000 is really not a big deal because Tesla's also going to have their own robotaxi fleet. So they will be making profit off of this, right? So they'll pay it off and then they will make profit and they'll make profit and they'll make profit for a decade. And this car will be really, really profitable for them. So it really doesn't matter if they spend $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 building this car. The important thing is it needs to be really, really robust. So that's really important. Durable car. I believe that it, again, because when I did my original video about what the Model 2 should look like, I believe it's going to look like a small version of the Cybertruck. It's going to be a stamped underbody with maybe the three pieces, two die cast and one structural battery pack in the middle. Maybe they'll even come up with something with only two pieces, like a structural battery pack and a front and a back that are both stamped, so that they can just go stick the battery pack in and go. And it'll have a stainless steel exoskeleton. Yes, I'm saying that now. A stainless steel exoskeleton. It will not be aluminum. It will not, or steel or whatever. It will not have paint on it. All of those things are very time consuming, very expensive, and who gives a crap for a taxi, right? Plus the fact it'll look different than everything else. So if you're calling a ROBOTAXI, it will just show up and you'll be like, oh, it's the silver one, because that's the ROBOTAXI. And then if other people have fleets, of course they can put wraps on this, or they could put their logos on it or something like that. But basically, it's just going to look like the Cybertruck. Maybe it won't have doors. I mean, that was really cool that they revealed that the Cybertruck doesn't have doors anymore. So that's really, really cool. So anyway, stainless steel exoskeleton on top of a stamped underbody with a structural battery pack. So that's the kind of underneath, and the underneath may only be two pieces. It might be the structural battery pack and then one giant stamped piece if Idra can make something big enough. It will be a hatchback, almost definitely. You just need that for flexibility, right? So you need to be able to fit stuff in there, right? In addition to people, like if you're going to use this as your primary vehicle, you have to be able to go to the grocery store. You have to be able to, or what, Target or whatever. You go someplace and you get a bunch of groceries and things. You put the seats down, you shove that stuff all in the back, and then you go home and unload it. So that's the kind of thing it needs to have. So it's got to be a hatchback. I mean, almost definitely, or something. I don't know. Maybe both ends open up. So maybe it's a double hatchback or something along those lines. So, and also, of course, the seats will have to fold down for cargo, and potentially, remember, if we don't have to have a driver. Oh, right, I'm revealing something. So potentially all the seats could lay down. The next big reveal, of course, is that I don't think that they're going to have a steering wheel or accelerator pedal or brakes or anything like that. Just like Elon is committing completely to the Starship for SpaceX, I'm pretty sure that they're going to commit fully to full self-driving. And they're going to say, and whatever mock-up designs they have, because they're probably pretty far into design development at this point, they probably, and Elon has even talked about this before, so it's not like I'm just totally speculating on this, but I believe that he is talking about getting rid of the steering wheel and all of that stuff. So only passengers, right? I mean, it's a robo-taxi. It doesn't need a driver. And of course it will have 4680 battery cell available on the merch store if you're interested. So anyway, that'll be a huge difference. And what that means is it will either be able to sit 5 or 6 people. So if you think traditionally there's 2 front seats, and then there's usually, you can fit 3 in the back seat, but it's possible with getting rid of the steering wheel and getting rid of potentially a display and just having individual displays or something along those lines, that you could actually put a 3rd seat in the front fairly easily, because there's no transmission hump, so that you could have a 6-seat vehicle that fit within the same dimensions approximately as like a Model Y, but just a much more durable vehicle. So think like the Model Y, except it looks like a Cybertruck, and it's got a hatchback, and like a big hatchback, and that's the kind of thing we're looking at. Probably only single motor. I don't really see the point of having a robo-taxi with a dual motor. Again, save expenses. Nobody cares about going to 0 to 60. If you have to do it in 6 or 7 seconds, who cares, right? So, so a single motor version is fine. It will have probably LFP batteries, which is lithium iron phosphate. It will use the 4680 battery architecture. It won't have any paint options. It's just going to it'll come in stainless, any color you want, as long as it's stainless steel. And it will be, again, angular and extremely functional. And the idea is that the body will last for 10 years. The batteries will last for 10 years. And, pretty much it'll go for as little maintenance as possible. So they will remove as much stuff as possible so that this thing can drive 4 or 5 million miles, at least 2 million miles, and last for 10 years. That's the kind of thing in an environment like, say the Northeast or something, where it snows a lot and there's salt on the road and it's crappy. So if you think about a vehicle that can function without having to have too much maintenance for a decade in a place like New York City or Boston, That's what you're looking at. So I'm predicting this thing is going to be a, what did they call the Cybertruck? Elon said it was their magnum opus, right? So this is going to be their mini opus. By the way, loved the Beethoven, the Fifth and the Ninth Symphonies for the fireworks. That was very, very cool. But I think, so if we're thinking about the magnum opus as the Cybertruck, this is going to be the mini opus. So it'll be, I think, approximately the size of a Model 3, but the dimensions, it'll have a bigger back, and it'll just be much more all about seating as many people as possible. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm very curious to know if you think that I'm completely off the mark here or if I've got any point. And I am headed off immediately to go talk to the Cyberlander folks. So that video will be coming out in a couple of days. I'm super excited about that. And like I said, I'm going to be at TeslaCon this morning. And definitely come and say hi to me if you're there. We're flying back home tomorrow. Unfortunately, can't go to Boca Chica, but I think we're going to try to road trip there this summer. So I will let people know. So maybe we can sort of caravan or have some fun going down there this summer by ourselves. Anyway, thank you for putting up with my voice. Oh, man. Oh, and also a big shout out to Paul and Sam that I saw they were in the front row of the when Elon Musk was talking. So that is pretty cool. Nice job, guys. Anyway, alrighty, I'll talk to you guys all later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.